Do you remember when you were a kid and you like, at least maybe, I don't know if you remember it, but
But you don't think I was a child?
I don't think you were a child. No, like when I was a kid, I loved Yu-Gi-Oh,
Sure.
and I had a lot of different decks.
Yeah.
They were all
wrapped in a single
in an elastic band, yeah, and no
Unsleeved.
context of card
Yeah.
sleeves, no context of a deck box, no context of even a bag to put them in. I was
Sure.
like, I'll put these in my pocket just in case someone wants to play.
Yeah.
Thinking about that now, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You're gonna fall in a puddle, and those are all worthless.
It's funny you say that because I found old Yu-Gi-Oh cards actually 2 weeks ago, and they were upstairs and they were in a plastic bag with elastic bands around them, and those elastic bands had hardened.
Yeah.
And so they were like,
Yeah, they
crumbled. They crumbled as I took
Yeah,
it out. I was like, time to take this elastic band off. I went to go pull it, and it would turn to dust in my hand, and I was like, oh no.
It's better than the cards.
The passage of time.
Yeah.
See, Pokemon used to sell products with tins.
Yeah. Which
Yeah,
is
It was
great.
so helpful.
They're a great
Yeah.
product.
And then me, as a child, wanting to collect rocks, said, mix the best of both worlds. Put the rocks
Put
in the
rocks
Pokemon
with the
tin.
cards?
Yeah, really?
Did you put them with the cards too, though?
And like, I'd open up my thing of Pokemon cards. I wouldn't put them in at the same time,
Okay.
but I'd use the same tin
Yeah.
to transport
Oh,
rocks
they
from
get
the beach.
so dusty.
And like, you take out your Pokemon cards, and they're all
So
scratched up, and like
grimed up.
sand falls off
Yeah.
of them, and that's very sad.
But you know,
Yeah.
you guys have seen my my card suitcase that I carry around.
I do like that.
You can't call it a suitcase. It's more like a toolbox.
It's a toolbox, yeah.
Yeah, but most of my decks are toolboxes.
Most of your decks
Sure.
are toolboxes.
So
yeah.
exactly. So I crack open my Kaiba Corp card suitcase, and I pull out my favorite deck. And at the time, I get people giving me shit because I'll keep counters in there. I'll keep like little pieces of dice, and they're in deck boxes. They're safe.
Yeah.
But at the same time, same issue. They're like, oh, you're gonna damage. It's like, what am I gonna damage?
What are you
There's
damaging?
triple sleeve.
Don't lie, you don't triple sleeve.
I don't. I
shouldn't
I don't.
I am a double sleever.
Isn't
Double sleeve is a
I
lot,
think we
even.
all double sleeve.
No, I single sleeve.
You don't double
And
sleeve.
you're a recent double sleever.
I
I'm your
just
supplier, so I know that.
you are my supplier. No, I used to double sleeve all of my Vanguard decks.
Yeah.
But that was because I had art sleeves that I wanted to like. It's like I can't damage the art.
You know,
sleeves.
we're like 10 feet from the only Vanguard deck I've ever owned. I was looking at it the other day.
That's
speaking
gonna
of
be-
speaking of crusty. You fucking leave out sleeves in a deck and don't touch it for 10 years.
Yeah.
Ooh, that does not come back clean.
Yeah.
They're one step above the elastic band around my Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Orada Sonata. This is Ian.
This is Jeremiah.
I'm Noah.
Dude, we had an established pattern that you were supposed to follow through with.
Yeah, but I'm the special one.
All right, whatever. The important thing is today we are going to talk about context because I realized it's one thing that was highly missing from our highly controversial episode 0 that we put out.
That wasn't a good episode.
I'm the one who made it
This will be a way better episode, and I'm so looking forward.
I
to it.
refuse the idea of this is gonna be a great episode. Now all the contrarians in the audience are like, let's see what this is about. I don't believe you. I'm gonna challenge
It's
this.
called inviting the audience.
I don't want to invite the audience. I want to reject the audience. I just got back from Japan. You know what my methodology was the entire time I was there? If they don't want me there, if they said go away, no foreigners, that's the place I want to go. If they invited me in, I'd never sit down. I know that you put the good stuff in the back. The 18 plus section, that's where you keep the quality stuff.
That's true. I mean,
Yeah, think about how far you have to walk for the gachapon
when I was
prize.
when I was a kid, I put a lot of time into. I played a lot of card games. I grew up playing Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, you started
And that was just I went to one local tournament
Yeah.
with like my banded together deck. And
Yeah,
no deck
yeah,
box.
yeah.
I bought sleeves for the first time at that local.
I mean,
actually-
At my first local,
it's
I bought card
impressive
sleeves.
that you went to a local as a kid.
I went to I think I was like 10.
That's impressive.
I was like 10.
I think a
yeah.
lot of kids did though.
I
'Cause,
played my decks
I
terribly.
started with Magic and I started with drafts and
Yeah.
it was like if I wanted to play, I had to go to a card store.
Yeah, you
So
have
like
to be.
the reality is I think that like card games are pretty heavily predicated on the idea of like go to the store.
Go to the store, yeah.
Interact.
Well, and that's the
Why-
whole
why?
thing behind
'Cause-
Flesh and Blood.
Well, that's true.
Flesh and Blood is literally designed to be like you're in there, you're flesh and blood. It's same with Magic. Magic the Gathering. You're trying to gather people together.
I think you're putting too much context into the naming convention. that we
Well, it's
have.
a thing that people talk about.
But you were collecting Pokemon cards, right? You and your cousin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just liked Pokemon.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, Pokemon are cool.
And
I had Pokemon
It
cards.
wasn't-
I never played it.
It wasn't even about like the shininess of the cards or anything. Like I wasn't.
Yeah.
I didn't know what rare cards were.
Yeah.
I just knew what.
Did it blow
Pokemon
your
was.
mind? You open like one SR or whatever they call their high rarity in Pokemon. And just
Back when I was opening,
It was just EX.
there
right?
were some cards with gold foiling.
yeah,
The name would be in gold, and those were special to me, right?
special card.
Those were cool.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I don't remember there being that much foil that I was opening because I was only opening a few packs every once in a while, right?
Yeah, you were getting hit with the classic like. I did well
Yeah.
on a test. My mom's gonna go say, "Hey, here's $4.
That
Go buy
felt
yourself
so
a pack."
good. That always
Yeah.
felt so good.
For
Though,
real?
if you ever got like a shiny card of a booster pack, because you get a rare, you'd be like, oh, maybe, at least for me playing Yu-Gi-Oh, anything you pulled could go into any deck, right? So a lot of those cards, you pull it and you're like, okay, maybe this could go in my deck. Maybe this could go in my deck. If you pulled a shiny card, you're like,
Oh,
I'm putting that
that's
in.
an auto.
I don't even know what this card
Yeah.
does. I'm putting it in there though. It looks cool. It's shiny. Boom.
Especially because like you're not pulling. You have no concept of sets when you're a kid.
No.
So you're grabbing like a set that's like
It has a
4
cool-
years old.
Yeah, a lot of the, I mean, every card game does it. They just put cool art on the booster
Yeah.
pack cover. And my favorite thing is varied artworks. And
Yeah.
I think that might be more of a recent thing is when they put multiple different like card arts on
Yeah.
different packs.
Because most card games have utilized multiple artists for like each set. Like
For sure.
Yeah.
No,
like,
I
it's
think
not
he's
like-
talking about the booster packs.
booster
art
packs themselves.
Oh,
Like,
like
Pokemon
how-
always had different packs
Yeah.
inside the
That's
box.
so cool because
Oh,
you're like,
that's
oh,
right.
maybe I'll get different guys this time. Or
Yeah,
maybe
you buy the pack with the Pokemon on the front, and you'd be like, I'm gonna get that Pokemon.
Oh
in
my
here.
God.
Yeah. Whereas like if you bought like 4 booster packs of like old Yu-Gi-Oh sets, they'd be all the same guy. I
Yeah.
think they still do that.
You know, I was at our local card store and I was listening to a kid learn about Pokemon from one of the staff, and the mom was with him, and she was like, "Oh, well, we opened this card. I have no idea what it's worth." And the Samura staff picked up. He's like, "Yeah, it's like a 20-cent card." And she's like, "But it's so shiny."
Exactly. No, and that's a big thing with Pokemon. I think is that like you think that cards are really gonna be really expensive because like
Yeah.
oh this is a classic Pokemon,
Yeah.
everybody likes them.
Yeah.
This is shiny. It's from the newest booster set, and then it's like oh it's $1.
How much precious metals went into crafting this shiny card? Because I know you can't get shine
How
without
many
metal.
how many cell phones did I melt down for this one gold foil?
Seriously though, it's brutal. But yeah, so Yu-Gi-Oh, and then I tried a bunch of stuff like Magic and all the crazy shit from when you
Yeah.
were a kid. They made like Metabots and Beyblade and Mega Man.
You really were a
And-
playtester. I could
I just
never.
like picked them up because my whole thing with cards is that
This guy was
they're,
rich.
They're playable pieces of art. No,
But he-
that's
yeah,
why
they-
I have no money now.
He had access to everything
Well,
you could possibly imagine.
He was born with gold foil. Like,
So, and then I think the next biggest one was Vanguard for sure.
Yeah, you
Vanguard
got really into
changed
Vanguard.
a lot. Yeah, Vanguard is kind of the reason I like went out and started playing cards at like local game
Yeah.
stores more often, right? Because before it was more of a collection thing,
Sure.
I guess.
But
And
did
then,
you keep a lot of those collections, or do you feel like they just kind of fell away as you get older?
man, I definitely don't have. I have a lot of my old Digimon cards actually,
Yeah.
which is funny because
Well, like the
now
original, like,
Digimon.
old
Yeah,
Digimon.
now Digimon is like my main card game.
Yeah.
But before, I literally saw them as like I don't know what these cards do. They're
Yeah.
just neat monsters on pieces of cardboard, which is why I like card games in general. It's just like cool art. They're functional pieces of art. They
Yeah.
just do things when you play them.
But I think that's what a lot of kids do, because like realistically, like every time I had a game, I did not follow the rules. I played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons as a kid.
Okay.
3rd edition, and that we did not know any of the rules. Me and my brother just found the books. We were like, we got a rough idea of what it did.
See, I
and
don't
we
like
just messed
books as a
around.
kid. I never read anything.
That's
That's why I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh. That's why I started with Yu-Gi-Oh.
That's
Couldn't read
exactly
from the
why
start.
he plays card games.
This guy's vanilla's only, eh?
Yep. Yep.
He plays the
It's
first
so
set
funny
of
that you
every
said
game.
that because there's a deck in the Dragon Ball Super card game that I played, which was specifically like if you have vanillas, it's Kid Goku.
Sure.
If you have a card with no text on it,
Yeah.
it does like double the damage or something. I forget what
Yeah.
it was. You draw an extra card when you play it
Yeah.
or something like that. Vanillas are just bad. They're
Yeah.
just awful
Yeah.
cards. Like why would I play this?
I think that's an anime card game design choice, because I think that happens as well in One Piece. Like there's a deck that came out in, I want to say set 2 of the One Piece card game. that
One
was,
Piece
like-
is just a rebranded Dragon Ball Super.
I mean, yes, it
It's
is.
the
Like
same thing.
I've got no confusion. Listen, we're on episode 1. We can't espouse our opinions about the One Piece card game, or we're gonna make too many enemies on episode 1.
Hey, One Piece is all right.
Stop talking about episodes.
Why?
You gotta be like, this is it. This is episode
This is the
one.
only one that exists.
We're not making
We're
more.
here and now. We're not episode one.
We're not making more.
We're nebulous.
Yeah.
This could be in 50 episodes in the future. We
Oh,
don't.
you're gonna hold it. You're gonna put this in the vault.
We're gonna slice it.
Are we gonna wrap an elastic band around this episode and
We
wait 50
should.
years?
Yeah.
We should, yeah. No, so I think I think that's a really interesting design choice for
Sure.
for stuff. It's just like you look at something that's like really bad in most other card games, and that's the cool thing, right? About trying a bunch of different card games, you find what works, you find what doesn't.
But you started, because like as I said, I started with. Realistically, I can like name a couple things I got a pack or two of, but I
Yeah.
started with Magic and I started with Draft,
Yeah.
and I think that heavily skewed my opinions on how like card games were gonna be played because
Yeah.
I almost never played Constructed. I always was
You
playing.
always play Draft.
I always played Draft. So like every Friday, I was like, I go down, I pay $15, I spend a whole night having fun, I get a batch of cards.
Yeah,
Theoretically, I could build a deck from them.
you're also learning way more.
That's what I was saying. So like I
Learning a lot.
always felt like I understood the game.
Yeah.
And I learned the mini game that is drafting, as well as the. This is what I'm saying. You cannot call drafting the same as the card game. You are playing a game that is the draft.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you are playing a game that is the card game.
No, that's definitely the best way to start, because I feel like growing up playing Yu-Gi-Oh and like watching the anime,
Yeah.
I didn't feel like much of a like you always wanted to be good.
Mm-hmm.
You always wanted to be good at the game, or like that your deck was the best because you put so much effort and thought into crafting it, and then you show up to a locals and get stomped, just
You get
demolished,
demolished.
and you're just like. Your perception changes so much because you're like, I thought I knew the game, but you weren't learning the game.
Yeah.
You were just collecting cards and like role playing.
I hate to tell you, that is every single competitive experience though, because you know I come from fighting games and Smash.
Yeah.
And every single person who has gotten into competitive Smash has the exact same story. Hey, I started, I thought I was really good, best of my friends, and then I'm awful. I go to a tournament and I got demolished. Exact same
Well,
way.
you're not going to do good in draft either, but I feel like you're going to learn more about the game you're going to be playing.
I think it's an optimistic
By
point of view. I think the reality is drafting, Smash, fighting games, constructed tournaments, it's all the same. You are going to go, and the first time you're not necessarily going to have a bad time, but you're not going to win a game.
That's okay. I don't win games now.
You're not gonna make it out of pools.
You're not going to make it at pools. This guy's drowning.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that's one thing I do really like, is that card games fundamentally get to use Swiss format, which means that you get to play until the end of the tournament, regardless of how well you do. You go to a Smash tournament, you get there, you're going home 15 minutes later.
Wow.
It's over.
That's brutal.
I paid $5, that's it, I'm done.
I will say I'm not like a big competitive player, but I've actually gone to more card game events than I think I have, and it's
It's-
mostly through Vanguard.
It's so interesting that you say I'm not a big competitive player because you have such a competitive heart, man.
I know. I
You
wanna be
are
good.
so competitive.
I wanna be
You don't
good.
like being bad.
Oh, I hate being bad at stuff.
But you are so bad.
I know. No, man. It's like every facet of my life.
Yeah.
And it all relates back to card games where I just say, like, man, I suck. Why can't I be good at this?
Everything that's ever gone bad in my life, card games.
But you know what?
Bummer.
It is. And then it's humbling because then you see someone who's, like, actually not very good and you reminisce.
Hold on. Why are you taking this as an opportunity to kick somebody else where you know what?
No, listen.
At least I'm not them.
You reminisce and you
Kick
go,
it while I'm down.
no. You look at them and you say, you'll get there, kid.
Yeah.
You'll get to the point where you still think you're bad. and that's when that's
You get to
why-
the point where you're still bad 10 years later.
Yeah, that's where I am.
Sure.
Yeah.
One day you'll be looking down on another player.
But like at the I don't think I ever understood tournament structure.
No.
Ever. I still kind of don't.
It's fine. It's not very good.
I'm
What do
just-
you mean, like Swiss format tournament structure, or
I get the general concept, but like I just remember going to those events and like not caring about winning or losing or placing high or anything, or being like, oh, I don't know what the pairings are like or if I'm gonna pair down.
Yeah.
I was just like, I want to play card games, and was just showing up. It was also they had a lot of vendors at the show,
Yeah.
so you could just like buy cards there too.
Well, you also.
It's
Oh,
convenient.
you mean those vendors? I thought you were saying like
Yeah.
fan art and stuff. Because like I know that that's always been something that coming from other like gaming communities or like anime communities has really frustrated me about card games. Like I very rarely will go to a tournament and see people selling something that is related to the piece of media but not the card game itself. So like I very rarely go to a Digimon tournament and see Digimon art. I'll
That would
see
be cool.
Magic art, but like
Yeah,
Magic
yeah.
art is like usually sold again, not at the tournament, at some kind of expo.
You should have gone to Nationals.
Nationals was like that.
They had a
Oh,
whole
yeah.
museum exhibit of Digimon art. It was pretty cool.
I love
I
love
think they're doing that with One Piece now.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I love when card games are willing to just like showcase like, hey, here this is art. This is art
No,
as well
for-
as a card game.
For Vanguard, they had the one of the protagonists' knight's sword replicas that you could pick up and like wield.
You wheel? That's so cool.
That's really cool.
So like just like
right?
take pictures and like
It was
hang out.
oh, well, I didn't see it personally, but I saw a lot of other players.
Yeah.
Was it sharp?
I don't know, man. I didn't.
Did you
play.
kill your opponent?
I can't see how they're handing a sharp object to people.
No, it's not sharp. It probably not even.
No,
hit.
it's probably like a piece of plastic or something.
Yeah.
But it was still neat.
Okay, well,
You know.
Big
it's because when I heard the word replica, I was thinking, they
Oh,
do
like
sell replicas of
replicas of
swords.
This guy loves
Sure.
buying katanas at the mall.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're a big sword head, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Bushi Agumon.
I
Bushi
can't,
Agumon, you're right.
I can't justify wearing a cape if I don't also have a sword to use the cape to
Okay,
conceal.
you know what? This is a perfect opportunity. Can I admit something? I've always wanted a dual disc. I think they're so
Oh
sick.
man, I had 4 when I was a kid.
You have 4?
broke
You have
2.
2 arms. Okay, that makes more sense.
He's got 2 legs. What are you talking about?
No, maybe it was 3. I definitely broke 1. No, you know what it was? My brother had one and he stopped playing
Yeah,
Yu-Gi-Oh.
I've never known your brother as a card game player.
No. Well,
I've
no.
never known your brother.
That's okay. You don't really need to.
Big Fate fan.
Big into Fate. He plays Warhammer, which is like close enough, but
Yeah,
I'd say
I
like,
think that once you leave like card games, like you're kind of in the hobby sphere, and that happens a lot
Yeah.
with us. Like we go to our local game store, and they often have Kings of War tournaments the same night where we have our Digimon card game tournament.
I thought that was Warhammer.
No, okay.
What's the
We're
difference?
we- guys, we don't, this is a whole different can of worms and mess to get into. We're talking
okay.
about like
It's interesting-
League and Dota, Kings of War and Warhammer. It's just like it's different
Okay, same
offshoots
idea,
of the
same
same sort of
concept,
base
yes.
concept.
It's interesting that you say once you leave the card game space, you're still in the hobby space.
Yeah.
Because I really don't feel that once I complete my Digimon journey,
Once you finally evolve
Yeah,
to
once-
a mega.
once I'm done with this, I can't imagine myself another card game or other similar hobby like that.
What I think is really interesting is that you are not a card game player. You're a video game player for
Am
card
I,
game.
though?
You played Hearthstone. That was your
Yeah.
biggest thing.
Wait, hold on. Do you consider Hearthstone more of a video game than a card
Hearthstone
game?
Hearthstone is fundamentally a card game.
Yeah.
But it's a video game. Like you're not going to a local game store and drafting Magic, or you're not collecting cards, playing Yu-Gi-Oh, going to local stores, getting your butt handed to
Sure.
you. You're showing up online and being like, I'm
yeah.
gonna grind this out.
I see.
I'm
You
grinding this.
view it more akin to.
Now I love digital card games.
Well, no, I was
I'm no
gonna say
stranger to
the Pokemon card game for GBA.
Yeah,
like
single player.
single player
Single player.
experience.
Yeah.
That like you're interacting with a card idea, but
Yeah.
you're not existing in the card.
You can emote your
ecosystem.
opponent in a digital card game. That
Sure.
doesn't mean you're interacting with them. Did I tell you guys about Shadowverse Evolve?
Yeah, you tried
it's
it last year, right?
It's I tried it this year. I don't like it that much, but
No.
I understand the reason why people like it. But it's a digital card game first that they brought into a physical space.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that would work, but they actually adapted the best concept of a digital card game being emotes. You can emote your opponent in real life.
Wait, why? I don't.
You
understand.
have an app that tracks your mana points, your play points that you gain.
Oh,
in
and you
return.
can emote through it.
And you scan your leader card. So your
Yeah.
leader card has like a thing on it. You scan it through the app, and it gives you that leader's emotes. And
I hate
leader
this.
the leader
The
cards,
Fortnite dance
the,
on them.
the leader cards don't do anything aside from
This is
have
so
different emotes.
bad.
It's not my favorite system, but you
No.
know what?
I actually
get
have
it.
always hated. I don't love out of game counters in games. So like Magic life totals have always been a frustration to me.
Yeah.
Digimon, the memory system, at least it's integrated into playmat.
For
but
sure.
I was gonna say the biggest issue I have is the moment a game requires you to have any kind of electronic device.
Oh
behind it.
yeah. No, that was immediately the thing that turned me off about the game. I was like, I do not want to have to download an app to play this.
For a while, I was playing Genesis Battle of Champions, and
Yeah.
that very much requires you to have, if not so many dice, it's going to require you to have. Well, you know what the meta was? People were using calculators, and they would be like, my
Oh, no.
life is before the decimal, and then my mana is after the decimal, and so
man.
they'd be like adding or minusing with or without decimals, and it's like it was awful. It was an awful meta.
Just use a notepad.
yeah,
Just use a notepad.
no,
That's
that's
illegal in
banned.
Digimon.
That's banned in Digimon.
That's well,
You're not allowed
no,
to
because in Digimon you don't need to like you can see your
No,
opponent's
but you're
cards and
not.
shit
But the
and
point is like you're not allowed. We were just talking about this with the Magic player. that you're not allowed to use any notepad in Digimon. So
That's so
well. That's the
bizarre.
thing is he looks at his security in Digimon. So 5 hidden cards. He looks at them. He puts them down. He's not allowed to look at them again.
That's illegal.
He
And he's like-
immediately forgets
He
them.
immediately forgets him. He's like a Magic player. And he's like, I should have written that down. And we had to be like, actually, we don't do that
You
here.
legally can't.
You legally can't. You're going to jail.
That's okay. It's playing yellow, which is basically
what-
security.
I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
But like, that's kind of the issue. I think that like sometimes there's a lot of assumptions that you come into a new card game, coming from something else. I came from Magic. He's coming from Magic. You came from Vanguard. No, you came from Hearthstone, if anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like realistically, you carry so much baggage of the games that you used to play.
Yeah.
That it's kind of hard to let go of that.
No, seriously.
I miss life not triggering prize effects or security effects.
I miss being able to attack into anything at any time.
That's wild to me. That's such a crazy even
Hearthstone,
coming
yeah.
to Digimon battles from Magic battles is like so different.
When you showed me Magic, I was so upset because at minimum, I thought it was going to be the Digimon system. You can swing into tapped creatures.
No.
You only attack me. And I said, that's terrible. That's my least favorite part of the game.
Yeah.
I like the back and forth board control, and you're telling me I can't do that.
Yeah.
My only opportunity to do that is block.
I do think-
and I hate blocking.
I do think that like the blocking concept.
The mini game, like the math puzzle of it.
It's so fun to think about blockers and stuff. I played Legends of Runeterra
Sure.
as my digital card game. of
You really
choice.
are a jack of all trades.
Yeah,
I do.
every single
Line of dialogue.
Yeah,
is like-
every soundbite is Jeremiah saying, "I played this game. I played this game."
and I'm not good at any of them.
Well, that's why
Which is
you
great.
jump ship once you start losing.
That's exactly true. No, Legends of Runeterra I think is a really interesting take on the Magic system.
Sure.
I had a lot
Really-
of fun doing combat math.
I
in
feel that they took more from Hearthstone than Magic.
I feel like it's a good meld of both with its
Sure.
own spin on it.
Sure, that's fair. I think of Blizzard and Riot
Yeah.
as
brothers.
holding a big share of a lot of the same spaces.
Yeah. I thought World of Warcraft and League of Legends were the same thing when I was younger.
Well, yeah, because they're both pared down to
This of
three.
this.
Yeah, no, but it's a 3-letter acronym. It's WoW and it's LOL.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
That's why Dota's different. It's 4.
Yeah.
For a long time, I thought League was a MMORPG, and wow, what a
Well,
disappointment
actually, it's
when
so
I found out
funny
what League was.
League actually was spawned from Warcraft.
Yeah.
No, Dota was.
Dota was. Okay,
And then
well,
and then Dota
okay, think about it
spawned
this
League.
way. It's like it's
I know how it works.
the birth of League of Legends.
Yeah, I mean,
the downfall
when-
of man.
The
When
downfall of it. Well, it was the downfall of me in fucking high school.
Same here.
I put a little bit too much time to.
That's why I'm not good at card
I
games.
said I'm gonna put an unhealthy amount of time in Dungeons and Dragons when I'm 4 and not understand any of the rules, and then I'm gonna play Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon and not understand any of them. Then
You
I'm gonna
play
put.
Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon?
I played Yu-Gi-Oh for quite. I played actually more Yu-Gi-Oh in university. I played Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon as a kid, didn't get them, and then I tried Yu-Gi-Oh again in university. I played with actually somebody we know, Vincent, and then I played Pokemon as well, and I said, "Wow, Pokemon's a bad game."
Yeah, Pokemon's. I don't find it very fun. Here's another thing. We want to talk about stuff that has extra counters. Pokemon has confusion, poison, burn, damage counters. What is all this?
Do they
garbage?
Paralysis.
Paralysis.
Do they just memorize
Flipping
it?
coins.
Like
everything's going everywhere.
There's
memorize
counters.
it? Do that's what I was gonna say. Do you memorize it, or do you have counters that you're like, this is a poison counter, I'm gonna put it on
You
your
have
guy?
you have
poison
specifically a
Oh,
poison
that's
counter,
unfortunate.
burn
I
counter.
really don't like
No,
that.
I'm not a
you,
fan.
You used to buy the bigger bundles of Pokemon, and they'd come with all the cardboard cutouts where you like pop.
You
out
pop 'em out.
They're basically Pogs that you're popping
That's
out.
how-
Oh, that's a
Same
good way
shot-
of looking at it.
Shadowverse Evolve is doing the same thing.
Really?
Yeah, for
Oh.
your play points and for your +1
But you
plus.
see, but
Because
the-
it's like Hearthstone where your
But that makes sense in a
frustrating.
digital card game. In a digital card game, that kind of a dynamic
That's
makes
what I'm
sense.
saying. Why do you doing that for a physical card game? It's just adding more
I
frustration.
will say, I looked down on it so much. I had so much junk around from these Pokemon
Sure.
paraphernalia. Throw it out. But when I watch Pokemon tournaments now, and they put their dice on it, it looks so efficient. It doesn't even look like work. So
What do
I-
they do? They just use like 1 means poison, 2 means paralyzed.
Well, not even for those, just for damage. Because for the most part, that is going to be what you're using most of the time. Like you're dealing with
Yeah.
damage a lot more frequently than you're dealing with
Yeah.
those other. And they just put like they'll do like 120 damage, right? And then
Yeah.
you put like
12,
two
two
dice.
sixes, yeah.
Yeah, 2 6s.
That makes sense.
And I'm like,
Quick math.
that's
I'm-
pretty clean
I'm fine with-
compared to
I'm-
12 to 10 damage counters.
Yeah, but when you're a kid, you're like, I don't want to. What am I supposed to do with this? Roll it? Like, I don't want to mark something.
there's
with
too
it.
much flipping and there's too much rolling.
There's
in
a lot.
Pokemon.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
And there's too much picking up your deck. That's too much stretching for Ian.
I have something genuinely kind of embarrassing to say, but
Sure.
it's funny. I used to.
You can't
Okay.
tell us it's funny. We'll decide if it's funny.
I played.
You're not funny.
When I was a kid, I didn't play Magic.
yeah.
I played their Yu-Gi-Oh attempt called Duel
Duel
Masters.
Masters, yeah.
Duel Masters. I thought I still think Duel Masters is
You've
cool.
talked a lot about it.
I like Duel Masters.
Yeah.
I think it's neat. Anyway, so in that game, any card in your hand can be a land. So you just put it down, but you put it face up.
Yeah.
Or sorry, upside down.
Yeah.
Put it upside down, and it says a little 1 to represent its mana,
Sure.
right? And so when I started playing Magic the Gathering, I was putting my lands upside down. And the guys across from me were like, what are you doing?
You kind of have to learn what the rules of the game are, dude. You can't just be like, listen, I learned that I'm supposed to put my cards on field face down because I played Yu-Gi-Oh!
I just
It doesn't
like-
mean that I'm going to start doing that in Digimon and say, "Then my opponent will be happy I did this. This will retroactively be made right.
So I just liked it better. I just liked having them upside down. It just felt better to put them on the field that way. Okay, so but for context, when I started playing Magic, I was not a smart child. Still not a smart person, but
Yeah.
not a smart child. I played.
Do you think you were not smart by child standards or not smart by person standards?
I think it's
I did not
personal.
think this was this hard of a question. I think this is my
I think-
answer.
The answer should immediately be not smart by child standards.
not smart by person.
I'm learning that. I'm realizing.
No, because I started playing with mono green aggro, mono
Yeah.
green Stompy, and
You just
I
want
just
to give
played
it
basic,
+3/+3
just
counter.
basic lands. Just
Yeah.
put all of
Monster.
your. So I was like, if they're all just basic and they don't have any text on them, what's the problem with me putting them on upside
Sure.
down? Upside down lands.
Not a good idea.
Nope.
Consistently an issue.
Nope. Definitely learned, but I learned my lesson.
Why?
That was because I had to start playing modern. I didn't have to start playing modern, but I
Yeah,
started
you were
playing modern,
compelled.
and
You were
was like,
forced into you were forced into the hellscape.
it was
that
like,
is
how
modern.
does my fetch land work? And if it's upside down, I can't read it.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll tell you what kept me out of modern, and honestly kept me out of most constructed Magic. The reality, the hellscape of paying for modern decks and buying the cards. I
Still
play
bad.
Digimon. I feel like I come in with a nickel and I buy a deck, and I go.
It's affordable for sure.
It's a gumball.
Yeah, give him a nickel to keep the change.
It is very cheap.
That's some worthless ass cardboard.
It's funny to think because
It's quality though.
They're good art.
it's great art. The cardboard
The
quality.
cardstock's pretty good.
I've recently
is better
touched.
cardstock.
I've recently.
Magic is better cardstock.
You don't think Magic is better cardstock?
I don't really think. I think
I
their
don't think
cards.
so.
I think their cards are more bendable and.
They're, no,
rippable.
but okay, they are more rippable, but the bendable is a feature. It means that they last longer.
It's
if
a
they're used.
feature, not a bug.
Have you gotten like any foils, like ever
In Digimon?
In Magic?
No, but every game.
They
foiling,
bend like
foiling
crazy.
is fundamentally an issue in card games. Like every card game, I get a foil
I'm gonna
from like
hold
a
up.
year ago.
I'm gonna stand up for the little guy.
Okay,
Future Card Buddy Fight has some really good foil.
sure.
I'm gonna stand up for the little guy.
Hearthstone.
All cards foiled, okay? Max rarity. You have a non-foil card, don't even look at me.
Yeah. Here's the thing. You want
Bring
your
back
ca-
BT11.
You want your cards to not bend? Play Hearthstone.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Or just double sleeve, my cards don't bend.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't double sleeve it while you're opening the bag.
Yeah.
Hurry, get to sleep!
as soon as trading cards are like exposed to any type of air, they just immediately.
It's called not opening the box, man. That's double sleeves right there.
That's why, like, anytime I hear somebody's like selling, like, oh, here's this unopened box from like,
Yeah.
4 years ago. I'm like, people are like, cause they make mad value in some old boxes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm just like, every value card in there is worthless to me.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Unplayable.
Yeah.
It's a spoon.
No.
It's so bent in there.
It's also really funny because I think old.
You know what I was
card
thinking
games-
the other day? Here's the thing. I can't play with bent cards because they're marked. But if every card in my deck is bent,
Then you're good.
then they're not marked.
Yep.
So what if I get max rarity, max bent?
Okay, what you're describing
You're playing
right
with
now
Pringles.
is Martin Lee's Digimon deck,
Is
okay?
it that bad?
His max rarity all force deck that he riffle shuffles.
Oh.
Yeah,
Ooh,
and
riffle
he chops
shuffling.
with that bad boy all the time, but it just max rarity. I think that's how he wins. He psychs them out by being like, "Look at these expensive cards. Now watch what I'm about to do with them."
That one, do you see this all force? Look, he's smiling.
You gotta be really confident in yourself to riffle shuffle your cards, or cardboard means nothing to you.
Well,
And that's what it should be,
Yeah, well,
realistically.
that is what it is for me. Like, I'm very clear. Like, you told me today, you're like, Ian, you should sell this Greymon. And I'm like, yeah, hypothetically I should. But the reality is, once I own a card, I I view it as a consumable. I think
That's
I'm
fair.
going to use it until it's gone. I
He
think
eats it right away. As soon as he opens the pack, he's like,
yeah, is that Marcus David?
Is that Marcus Davis?
A quick snack. No, but I don't know. I think that like I get that some people view cards as investments, and I don't think you're like a bad person if you do it. But I buy cards to play with them.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
while I will trade them for other cards, once I have the cards I want to use, I'm gonna use them. It's kind of the same reason why I don't live in this triple sleeve hellscape that Noah lives in.
I don't triple sleeve.
Okay, fine, but you are much more concerned about the health of your cards than I am.
Yeah, because as soon as a card is destroyed, I don't want to have to buy it again.
I'm not gonna buy it again. I'm gonna use it marked.
Well, the thing is, and I think the number one reason for double sleeving is to avoid it getting wet, because like you shouldn't.
Noah's a sweaty player.
There should not be
He is a
open
sweaty.
containers on the tables where you're playing cards, but people do it.
But everyone
and
does.
somebody knocks it over,
Every
and it spills
single
all
person.
over, and that liquid is getting right into the top of your sleeve. But the liquid for mine will have to go to the bottom and then back up to wet my cards.
That's true.
So my cards are nice and
I think-
safe. Also, it solves the foiling issue.
It solves you
It does
walking
solve the
around.
foiling issue, yeah.
It solves you walking around the rain with an elastic band on your card and worried about it getting wet in the rain.
Yeah, I actively take my Digimon decks in the shower.
You should. Yeah. You gotta,
I got a deck build.
Listen,
you
gotta
gotta clean your
practice.
sleeves.
Yeah.
Yep. That's another thing.
Don't
man.
use water.
Sweat buildup on sleeves.
Oh, they get grimy.
brutal.
It
Brutal.
sucks because like okay, here's the thing. I love like Noah with his maul katanas. I love katana sleeves.
Mm-hmm.
And the unfortunate reality is like they feel so good.
Yeah, yeah.
But then you get a little bit of grime buildup,
Oh,
and they're so listen. A masterfully crafted 1,000-fold blade, one chip. You feel it.
Yeah,
and
turn.
then one bit of grime on a katana, you really feel it.
My turn as the master of
As the
katanas.
master of blades.
Because you were not on the katana train the entire time.
No,
I remember picking
I was
up
a
your
shield,
deck.
I was a shield master.
I was trying to shuffle your
I like
deck,
Dragon
and it was
Shield.
like putting 2 blocks of Lego together, just banging them together.
That would happen with my
Instead of masterfully folding into each other, it was just like smack, 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 and I would complain about it, and you'd be like, "What's the issue, man?"
Well, I do like a little bit of friction. I think
But-
that like it helps.
Do not use water, like even a tiny amount,
Yeah.
to clean your
No,
your
I
sleeves.
you know what I use?
Who told
I
you
use,
this?
I'll tell you what I use. I use Magic Commons in order to clean my sleeves.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I use.
yeah.
I use a bulk card or a ruler. I also use a plastic ruler.
Yeah. You
guys got
and just
fingernails,
scrape
right?
it off, and it's
No.
good as new. I tried the very first time I tried cleaning a deck of sleeves. I used a cotton swab and a tiny bit of damp water, and it
Incorrect.
ruined those sleeves.
Incorrect.
What does it do to them? Because I don't actually have context.
It made them terrible shuffle feel. It's on the front, like the glossy part of it.
Yeah.
The plastic. I don't know if it removes some kind of oil or what the deal is that makes these shuffle so
The
nicely.
gold foiling.
I don't know what it was, but after that, it was like shuffling Ian's cards. It was like 2 bricks trying to smack them together.
Well, that's probably it. I got those sweaty hands.
Yeah,
and
sweaty hands.
I'm building up that fluid real quick.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that I liked about when I was playing a lot of Vanguard and I had the art sleeves.
Sure.
Would
you oversleeve?
And then you oversleeve them. Your oversleeves get all grimy. Why clean them? Buy another pack.
That's
Just
true.
slap them right on. Boom.
The thing is okay. Like my main issue, I deck tweak a lot, and
Ooh,
the
it
moment
is
I'm multi-sleeving, I feel like so frustrated.
I have a system.
Yeah, you use sleeve cards that are bulk, right? Is that right? You single like you
single sleeve
You put the perfect fits on them,
Yes.
which is I can conceptually understand that, but
That's an
that's
ass.
a lot an
But
ass.
that's
you
an
just
ass.
don't have different color sleeves.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I agree with that, but also, no, actually, I just agree with that.
I agree as well. I wish I had bulk bought thousands of probably black katanas and just locked it in.
Yep.
And then just
That's why I'm all
utilize that.
orange, baby. Orange katanas.
It's
Yeah.
the ugliest katana.
Yeah, I don't know why you go orange.
The
Like,
orange is my
fa-
katana
listen,
color.
Listen, guys, orange is my favorite color. I'm buying everything orange.
Yeah.
All of my deck boxes are orange. My archive is orange. My sleeves are orange. My dice are orange.
I've spent an egregious amount of money on Ultimate Guard products.
Sure.
They make katana. They make my quad row binders. They make all my deck boxes.
Dude, wait for the sponsorship.
Yeah. Orange is the only color that I've never purchased. It's such a terrible color.
Yeah.
It is I purchased every other card color from Katana,
Yeah.
but not orange.
I realize how much the starting with Magic Black has like influenced my life because I go to buy any sleeves and I first go, what's the darkest shade you guys have?
Yeah.
And if they say we don't have any black shades, like we only have like grays, I go, how purple can I get? that's like the 2-step process to decide what sleeves I'm gonna buy.
What
But
about
charcoal is such a nice color.
There is the issue is when I see like any kind of gray, usually in the box, I don't know how it's actually gonna look until I get it out and I see the full card back.
Yeah.
And like the sleeve back is often not that indicative inside the box because you only see a tiny sliver of what it will look like.
how important is matching the color of your sleeve?
Not
to
at
your
all.
deck?
I have so many.
I don't care.
I
I
have so
don't know
many
if
yellows.
Ian has any that match.
I probably have one or two, but like
I've never cared.
it's not something that's important.
I
to me.
used to. You know what?
You're
When
a
I was in
liar.
high school, I cared.
You put your red yellow cards in your orange sleeves.
I just like orange.
Oh, how convenient!
Do you think that you would have become like if orange was a color in Digimon, regardless of the mechanics? Do you think you would have become an orange player just over the color?
I don't think so.
It wouldn't have sold you.
I like Gallantmon a lot. You don't see me playing red. What
Yeah,
the hell
that's
is
true.
that?
You did play red.
You-
Well, I
You
started
used to
with
play
red.
Gallantmon.
I started with red because I played Gallantmon.
When was the
And
last time you didn't play red?
Green. You play Shivamon.
I like Shivamon.
When was the last time you played Shivamon?
That's true. Shivamon has been irrelevant for most of Digimon.
Yeah.
Pretty much
Red.
since the day Shivamon came
I
out, it
like
was not a usable card.
Shivamon. He's neat. He's just so cool.
I like that Jeremiah is known in the community as the guy with the beard. Because the other day at
He's the
Locals-
only one of us without a beard right now.
Yeah, I know. I think that's funny too. But the other day at
Why is
Locals,
it shaved from November?
somebody asked me
It's-
why Jeremiah was collecting War Greymon cards. And I said, what are you talking about? And he shows me the message in Discord. And it's not you. It's just a profile picture of someone with a beard. And they immediately assumed that's Jeremiah.
That's all it took.
I think the color of your like I used to try to be thematic with my sleeves to my deck, in that art sleeves. You know, you like a specific card in Vanguard, you buy the art sleeve for it and sleeve your deck in it.
Yeah.
Or character sleeve or whatever. I quickly grew out of that.
I appreciate
Like
the organization. That's why on the back of all my sleeves, I write the name of the card that's in it.
That's
Okay?
important.
It's good to be organized.
How many times do you have to write swamp?
Well, okay, that's one thing I'll never miss is having 17 to like 20 cards in my deck just be lands.
That yeah, it's
No Magic player
it's an ask.
leaves Magic and then goes, you know what I miss? Lands. They really rounded out my deck.
lands are not my favorite.
Well, it's just a nature of like the game's age and like how its design scheme was made. I think that like no modern game wants to design with lands. Just some of them are like, well, we're a Magic clone, so let's start with lands.
Well, calm.
Well, that's why almost every Magic clone realistically is like, how do we replace lands or make every card a land
Use
or
a
have
cell phone
lands?
app where you can emote at players.
Land
How do we
Also
make the
counts.
best resource system possible? Bandai did it.
Bandai
It
did it.
did.
Memory really.
Memory is really
the
cool.
seesaw
It's
effect.
really the thing that when a player looks from the outside looks at Digimon, they're like, "Why do you have that slider in the middle?" And you're like, "Oh, this is actually how we play the game." And
Yeah.
you're like,
Ian, what is memory?
What is memory?
Yeah.
Memory. Well, first of all,
What is the
it-
memory gauge?
There you go. Thank you. I was gonna say because human memory is a big question. I was like, this is a bit too heavy for a 1-hour Digimon podcast. But what is memory? Memory is the mana resource that we have in Digimon, and the more you use on your turn, the more your opponent gets to use on their turn.
Start at 0. If you play a card that costs 3, your opponent starts the turn at 3.
Exactly.
Pretty
and so
straightforward
it is a great mechanic for us to say, hey, you can use it, but then they're going to use it right back.
Yeah, yeah.
So however much you want to overspend on a turn, they're going to then be able to combo out on you.
Well,
The theoretical max you could have is if you somehow had 10 memory on your turn, you could play a card that costs 20 and put your opponent to 10 memory.
You love the idea of dropping something for 20.
Oh, that death X for 20? That was phenomenal. That was a
only
beauty.
20 cost card in the game.
I don't know anyone
That's not
else.
the only 20 cost.
There are other 20 costs. But I don't know anyone else that has played a card for 20 memory. That is excessive.
That's a rare
That
feat.
if this was a video game, I would have a very rare achievement for that.
Very rare.
I would.
It's pretty good.
It'd be 15 gamer points
I
on
think,
Xbox.
I think it would be. I think that was the big appeal from, an outsider perspective on Digimon. It was like, wait, I can just play my big 10-drop guy immediately, and you're like, well, yeah, you're giving me 10 resources to work
It's a
with. I'm
bad
like,
choice.
yeah, but he's my big boy. I can just
Yeah.
slam
Well,
him down.
That is the cool thing about Digimon, right? Because then you build up to that
Yeah.
same big guy for a more efficient memory.
You're not like
Even
mapping
though,
things out.
in theory, like I always have felt funny about this, that I look at the sequencing of like the standard cost of Digimon, and I'm really going, okay, I did evolve for 2 to a champion, so 0 to a rookie, 2 to a champion, 3 to an ultimate, and then 3 or 4 to a mega, right? That's like our general concept.
Yep.
You're still spending 8 or 9. You're still dropping quite a lot
Yeah,
when you
you're,
get to the
you're
mega.
replenishing cards in your hand.
You are, but
It is true.
And the other beauty of Digimon.
Sure.
The thing that I care not at all for and you love.
Why is it?
Inheritables.
I do love inheritables. I think again, coming from Magic, where a card is itself standalone. If I was to compare it to Magic, it would be like, hey, what if when you play a card, it has 4 pieces of equipment from your deck that you get to add to it, and that nature of just being like, well, that's an entirely different card because I've chosen 4 additional abilities for it to have, means that as I play the game and as I have access to different cards, I fundamentally am making a different creature every time.
Every
It
single time.
evolves.
It evolves.
Wow.
It
Puts on-
digivolves.
it gets to level 5, puts on its jeans.
Yeah.
the classic Digimon.
I think it is really interesting though because like coming from Vanguard, the idea it's another stackable card game.
Sure.
You put cards on top of each other. There are times in which the card underneath will influence the card above,
Yes.
but not as intrinsically as Digimon does it.
Usually it's just adding power toughness.
It's
like,
always just adding more stats to the guy.
big number and then Vanguard swings.
Whereas you know in Digimon you're like you can add card
Your
draw,
card
you can
draw,
discarding, you can delete
Protection
your opponent's
from deletion.
Digimon. Yeah, delete your opponent's Digimon. You literally can put a removal spell on your stack.
Yeah.
Like that's really interesting.
Deletion is the equivalent to dying or being removed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do think the idea though.
I feel like deletion is pretty self-evident.
It feels that way, but then you have to think about it, and it's not really a common term. To
because
me,
Digimon-
deletion is just deletion.
Yeah.
I'm like that thing's dead. It's in
I
the
guess that's true. I mean,
graveyard, trash.
well, the recycling bin.
The
as we call
recycling
it.
bin.
Second
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Well, they really tried to hone in on the whole digital
The
aspect.
yeah,
which
because we hatch digi eggs, we evolve, we send our things to a recycling bin.
we have a recycling
We check
bin,
security.
a trash.
You attack your opponent's firewall.
Yeah, basically. I mean, yeah,
It's-
it's like antivirus.
It does present interesting gameplay and design choices because, like I said, you love inheritables.
I do.
I don't care.
No, I think that Digimon does a lot of cool things, and that's why I'm really jazzed on it as the card game of choice. For
you,
right
though?
Now.
Yeah, because you're not that excited about it anymore.
Yeah, and it's funny because you hit this brief moment of inertia where you were so excited about
Where
it.
the moment you said my deck is good, I don't like it anymore. I'm quitting the game.
It's
Jank
funny
fire.
because I'm not even referring to that because as soon as his deck got good, he quit, and then it's been about
Took a
3
break.
months.
Took
It's
a
been about
break.
3 months,
Took a-
and you have a new deck, and we played it a couple times, and you enjoyed it. You were having a good time.
Nice.
A new set came out. I played a deck against you, and you said, "This is my problem with Digimon,"
This is my problem with Digimon.
and you did not want
Listen,
to play.
I don't think there's a perfect card game.
This is the competitive spirit in you.
Yeah.
You do not like to lose.
But here's the thing: you keep saying he has a competitive spirit. You compete more than any of us.
Yeah.
Oh,
you-
I'm very competitive.
That's what I'm saying. You're the competitive one.
But the difference is that when I lose, I don't say, "That's it, I'm selling my collection, I'm out of here."
Sell
Because
my collection.
the true competitive spirit doesn't give up until they win.
Yeah.
Jeremiah's
but
the giver upper.
Here's the question: how many times have you taken first?
Never. Wait,
There you go.
at locals?
No, not local.
At least 50% of the time.
At a regional,
At a regional? Never.
you came second.
Not at a regional.
What was the highest you came?
At a regional?
Top 32.
16, right?
13th at a regional.
That's not bad, but
10th
like
was also Ultimate Cup.
10th was
Second was also Ultimate
10th
Cup.
was Ultimate Cup.
Yeah.
Oh, that was Ultimate Cup.
that is unfortunate that like Ultimate Cup is like one of the most respected tournament series we have, but then it's not a regional.
It's not.
Well, it was actually better. I would have at that time. I would have rather had a second placement at an Ultimate Cup where I got my Omnimon, as opposed to second place in regionals where you get an extra pack.
in truth, I'm okay being a casual player.
Yeah.
It's
In fact,
just fun to enjoy.
I've almost become more at peace with Digimon because I took a significant break, and I'm coming back to it now as a casual player, just teaching a friend of mine to play, and I'm just saying, this might be more of how I enjoy to interact with the game. Because at the end of the day, I'm more interested in seeing interesting card interactions than I am playing the optimized card interactions against otherwise optimized decks.
It's just fun. And then I think like a big thing is when you play competitively, or even not even competitively, you just put effort into winning. It just takes part of the enjoyment out of it. But you know, other people thrive on that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely enjoy winning. What it comes down to is the struggle makes the success so much sweeter, and it's not just competition. It's, for example, if you've ever done any programming, coding, the struggle of trying to find the solution
Man,
makes reaching the solution feel unreal, even though you spent 10 hours smashing your face into your desk and you hated it. Every second of it, once you get there, it's so good. It feels amazing. It's adrenaline. It's delicious. It's sweet. It's
delicious.
Success.
Well, you know,
I don't think I've ever defined, other than, listen, I'm not about to chomp into a Marcus Demon. I would never define a card game win as a delicious
Those
experience.
endorphins, they're delicious, man. The way my brain's gobbling them up, it's good stuff.
I get what you mean. I mean, I'm coming from an art background. You know, when
Don't get me started.
oh man, you redraw stuff so much, and when you finally get something that works, you feel great.
Listen, if
I'm
you want to draw a
constantly-
lot, you should play Digimon.
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. You do draw a lot of cards. No, but like, you know, once you finish that piece and you keep looking back at it, you're like, nice, I did it. And then a couple of days later, you're like, wow,
I
this
hate
is
it.
awful. This is terrible.
And that's what it is in Digimon, except
Yeah.
without the... you can't look back at your placing and say, wow, that's awful. Well, I mean, you can, because you can be like, I should have done better. But you can't look back at the placing and be like, I could touch up these lines a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say that I think a big part of the competitive and casual...
Dichotomy.
I was going to say dichotomy, but I don't know if that's exactly the word I'd like to use here. But the difference that you're describing, where you're saying that you enjoy the more niche interactions
Yeah.
of casual play, I think what it really comes down to is decks being at the same power level. Because competitions are fun when the decks are at the same power level, and casual play is fun when the decks are at the same power level. But when you mismatch it, when you have an uneven balance, that's when the game that isn't fun. It's like me trying to play Smash against you. It's why I want to play Rivals 2 against Jeremiah, not you.
Yeah. I think that I can mostly agree with you. I do still think that low power decks within the context of Digimon tend to be more interesting. And that's largely because Digimon has a play area, which is called the breeding area, which is separate from the field and cannot be interacted with. And so Digimon enables efficient decks to set up their win con without their opponent really having any real means of interacting with it.
Well, in the same way that like a combo deck will just like, if they have all the pieces in their hand, and the mana.
It's not that they don't, but the thing is, there are counter spells, and there are ways of interacting. There's thought seizes, ways to interact with your opponent's
Magic
hand.
has it.
Yeah.
Not all games have it.
Not every
though.
game.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Well, I think for now that's about as much context as we're gonna provide.
We covered
about,
a lot of topics.
About
We
the
covered
three
a
of us.
lot of different card games thanks to Jeremiah.
We covered all of the card games that Jeremiah likes to play in his free time and has wrapped up in the elastic band,
I
grown
haven't
crusty over the last 10
I haven't
years.
talking about Marvel Snap.
You did play Marvel Snap for a while, and you're
He's
back on
still
it now,
playing
right?
it.
I'm back on it a little bit. Yeah, that's fun.
I do genuinely respect the fact that you play a lot of card games, but I think that it would have been nice if you put a little bit more time into one of them, and you could come even first on a logo one day. All right, thanks for listening to the Arata Sonata. I suppose we'll come back next time with 10 other card games that Jeremiah has been playing in his free time.
Might be a new one coming out.
All right,
care.
night, guys.